What up, dudes? So a few days ago I made a must-have PvE weapon video and I didn't really do much detail. It was kind of just thrown together super fast. I didn't really go over what perks I had on a lot of the guns, so I thought I would remake it. So let's get it started. Alright, starting off, the Conqueror 2. This is one of the top 3 submachine guns in the game. It's got kill clip. Masterworked it with handling just to give it a little more control during the bottom half of the magazine, where they kind of phase out a little bit. Kill clip does hella damage, of course. I do the more rounds to get more damage out because it's kind of a weaker, shooting gun, but it does kick ass when all the rounds fly out of it. So always go for the max amount of damage on this gun, which is tactical mag and hammer forge to give you a little more magnetism. That's it for the Conqueror. All right, duty bound. This is the Sabbath and Song. Nightfall specific drop. It takes about 40 to 100 tries just to get this dude, so a lot of people say they don't really care for it. I think it's a beast. This video is basically opinionated, so anybody can have their own opinion on what they think the best guns are. The ones that I use are the ones that I can move the fastest, jump around in the air a lot, in-air accuracy is good on them. I can just keep going basically with no hiccups or anything, so that's why I choose them. So duty bound. Rampage, accurized rounds. Every now and then I'll go with Ricochet. This gun is just so good that you can really just use any of these perks. All the perks kick ass on it. Sometimes I'm using Zen. The reason why I go with Rampage more often, it's too similar to Scathelocke. So, Scathelocke doesn't have Zen moment or anything, but I wanted to give the gun a bonus damage, so it's not, that similar in damage with Scathelocke. I feel like sometimes when I'm using Zen moment, I feel like I might as well be using Scathelocke because it has high caliber rounds, so giving it extra damage by doing the Rampage is why I do Rampage. So, alright, Guiding Star, we're going to go with the high cal rounds. This is a dead orbit drop faction rally weapon. I don't really care for this scope. It gets way too lost in range. When you go with that one, it's super up close. This one gives it, it sets it about right. High cal rounds to stagger them. If I'm going to use this on a Nightfall or Prestige event, I probably wouldn't go with high caliber rounds, and the reason is because they never stagger on Prestige Nightfalls. They don't work at all for some reason. They'll still be hitting you, they don't stagger, they just keep going. So I would probably go with more rounds for more damage in that kind of a situation. Moving targets pretty kick-ass on that kind of gun too. Foregone Conclusion is good, but I like this one a little bit better just because the high caliber rounds in every other situation besides a Prestige Nightfall. Alright, Scathelocke. I go with the bottom scope. I feel like this one does give it more range, it says, but it doesn't hit as many range shots as this scope does. You can also check out my scopes and range video where I show you that your scope means a lot more than the range stat. This one will hit farther targets, but if you can hit a target far away, this like more damage, less fall off basically. But this one just lands way more rounds than this one, so I always go with this one. High caliber rounds, if I'm doing anything prestige, I go with the tac mag, but high caliber is what I usually rock on it. Nightshade. This is the only pulse rifle in the game that I really give a shit about. I'm really not a big fan of the whole bandwagon thing with the Graviton Lance. I just don't really care about that gun. A lot of people will disagree. I get it. I totally get it. It's a hard-hitting weapon. It's a fun gun. But when it comes to moving around fast and trying to shoot Graviton Lance, it's just one of those guns like you got to stand still and time your shot with. You can't really jump around and do like sweep shots while you're spinning through the air or whatever. It just doesn't work out very well. So I always go with this. I never use armor-piercing rounds. If you can get time, watch my armor-piercing video. All it does is the same amount of damage than the full clip will do on a shielded enemy, but I'm never shooting shielded enemies with a primary weapon. That takes way too much damn ammo, and I'm not going to waste all my shit on a dude when I can just pull an energy weapon out and do way more damage that way. So I go with tac mag. It's masterworked with a bigger magazine because the stats are already amazing on this gun. It really doesn't need it. And I always go with the rifle scope because this scope has the fastest lock-on time than any other scope does. So you pull it out, you hit the aim button, it's almost already on target. You don't have to really move the scope around that much to start shooting. So that's what I do with that one. And kill clip, you already know that shit wrecks. Alright, next gun. purpose, this is the Trials scout rifle. Go with the small bore on it. I don't like to have that much range dropped off, but that one really doesn't do shit compared to what the stability and handling decreases. So I mean, I'm not gonna lack my stability for that little pinch of range. Small bore, hip fire, grip, slide shot's not really that cool for PvE. It doesn't work out that much. I don't see myself sliding and shooting dudes that much as I probably would be in PvP or whatever, so I go with the hip. And with the buff that all weapons got with hip fire recently on one of the last updates, it's even better now. And explosive payload. I started using this gun over Nameless Midnight just because of the lightweight perk on it and stuff, and the damage. It doesn't hit as hard as Nameless Midnight, but this gun is just more fun to use. It's more accurate in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, Nameless Midnight is a contender. It's badass. So if you're using Nameless over this, I mean, I don't blame you for that either. It's just, you know, Nameless is one of the best guns in the game, so for PvE. So I just like to use purpose. I got tired of using Nameless all the time, and I just like the way this one shoots for hip fire. And you know, I'm all about, you know, flying through the air, and you know, I'm in the air shooting more than anything. So a lot of the weapons that I choose are based on how I play, and I play really fast. I play in the air a lot, so I need accuracy while I'm in the air. So I use guns like that. Origin story, got it masterwork with range. It just came like that. I didn't feel like re-rolling it. It's already a good gun, and that locks on a little bit better by having the range, so I was like, whatever. I do a pinned magazine because I use a fitting aspect, and it gives you, you know, the ready speed and all that other jazz, so I don't do the flare mag wheel because there's really not that much difference in the reload speed at all, and the stability's still good, so, you know, anyways, a pinned mag, 36 rounds with the hard-hitting auto like that. It's pretty beast. Alright, next up is Biden-Hander. This gun replaced Anti-Up D, as I said in my previous video, and the reason why it replaced Anti-Up D is because it's more accurate. It has high caliber rounds, and the magazine goes up to 45 with the Ambitious Assassin, which is super nice. That's hella damage compared to what Kill Clip does on Anti-Up D. Ambitious Assassin is just an all-around great-ass perk to have. And Anti-Up D, if you side by side compare the stats, Anti-Up D is going to show that it has better stats, but SD Thermal Scope is what makes this gun shine over Anti-Up D's scope, which is this one. It just, when the gun gets to the end of the magazine, it starts kicking tiny bits to the left and right, instead of what this one does is it starts going zigzag and up, which is hard to control. So I always go with SD Thermal because you can maintain that shit better. Better Devils, you already know this gun's a beast. I do the handling on it because it seems like whenever I shoot Better Devils, I'm always like sweep shooting it instead of like lining my shots up. I'm usually like, you know, jerking the control left or right and shooting like, you know, swinging headshots like that, and it kind of helps with that. Also, I do flare mag wheel on this. The only time you'll see me doing the extended mag is if I'm doing the raid and prestige events. Most of the time I'm really just using flare mag wheel, but sometimes I will use this because of the fitting aspect gauntlets. It reloads. We'll put it this way: if you don't use fitting aspects and use the flare mag wheel, having this on with the fitting aspects reloads about the same as if you didn't have the fitting aspects on with this on, if that makes sense. But I use flare mag wheel more than most of the time. So, alright, Vertex Winterwolf, same situation here. I don't use armor piercing rounds. I don't shoot, you know, shielded enemies with primary weapons. I use attack mag because there's more non-shielded enemies to shoot with, and more bullets equals more damage. So I masterworked it with a bigger magazine also because it has, for one, bonus damage on the bottom half of the mag. So the more rounds you have, the more that bonus is hitting. And I use the top scope. This one's good too, and that one's good, but having that much range, the magnetism is insane with this kind of auto rifle. Alright, Pleiades, or Pleiades, whatever the hell, Greek mythology shit probably. This is the Future War Cult weapon. I went Future this last faction rally, and I did New Monarchy, the one before that where I got Biden-Hander, but I wanted this scout rifle so bad, so I did Future this time. And luckily they won. But Spark PS scope on this, high caliber rounds to stagger dudes, and Rampage. This is a similar gun to Banan, but I think this one shoots a little bit more accurate than Banan because of the scope. It'll just be locking headshots like crazy as fuck, man. and that rampage kicks in, plus the high cal rounds, dude, you just can't go wrong with that. Flutter Mag is cool also, but like I said, I use Ophidian Aspects, which are beasts, and I don't need any kind of reload like that. And this is also a really good scope too. I recommend them both. I just think this one is just better for it, the Spark. But yeah, it's a beast-ass gun. Uriel's Gift, I really just use this in PvP, but I keep it on me sometimes whenever the burn on Heroics is arc or whatever. High cal rounds, tap the trigger, you know, the bonus accuracy when you first pull is pretty nice. I like to have the range on this gun, so I use flash. I don't ever go with that. I like to have those high cal rounds ready to go. Alright, Valcannon. So there's Valcannon, there's Hollow Earth, and then there's that other gun that I can't ever think of that's like this gun, but it has 51 rounds. You probably know what it is, I just can't remember. This is the best out of all three of them though. It just is more accurate. It's got faster reload, more bullets. I don't use Flutter Mag, like, again, Ophidian Aspect, don't need them. I go max range on this one to lock it on, and it does lock on. It is a very, very, very nice weapon, and one of my favorite autos in the whole game. Kibou, you already know Kibou is the beast. I use the bottom scope on it, get that extra range out. Tac Mag, I don't really care about the armor piercing. It is 33, but I like to have the more bullets even with this gun. So, boom. Next gun, Resonance 42. So with this kind of guns, this one, and this one are kind of all the same. I'll go over them anyways because there are slight differences, but I didn't want to use 3 Royal Dispensations, which are my favorite out of all 3. I just wanted to have, you know, different options. I didn't want to carry the same 3 guns basically. I wanted to have more variety. But this bitch gets 37 rounds, which is hella nice. I got it masterwork for handling, so it gives it, you know, better handling, of course. Appended magazine, I could go with that, but it drops it to 34. I just like having the extra rounds, just because. More damage, and it still has plenty of range. It's a really good gun, and you could go with that one, but this one gives you more range, and the jump accuracy with any kind of submachine gun like this is just super amazing. These are some of the funnest guns to use in the game, but that's what I'm rocking with Resonance 42. Positive outlook, everybody has to have a positive outlook. It's super beast, especially on Eater of Worlds when you're doing Defender and you're ad controlling. The kill clip on this is just fucking crazy against Minotaurs and things like that, and it's procced all the time. I do armor piercing rounds on that just because that mixed with that bonus damage equals hella bonus damage, so that's why I'm always rocking that. And I do this scope because in PvE, this is the fastest lock-on target scope you can use. And then on PvP, because it's the fastest lock-on target PvP scope. I don't know why they did the difference, but I did test them both. And this one goes right to target right when I start aiming on PvE. But it doesn't on PvP, I don't know. I don't get that. But this is the one I go with. Alright, Foggy Notion. So this one has 34 rounds. You get the option to go Ricochet, or you can go Flared. I do the reload for this one just because it's nice to have a fast reloading gun, even faster, even with the Ophidians on, whatever. Bottom scope just to get the most range out of it. I actually like this scope quite a bit. I wish that this scope was on a lot more submachine guns. It's really fucking nice. Flutter Mag, Grave Robber. They did an update too. You used to only get 10 rounds when you did Grave Robber. Now you get 17 when you melee somebody and rock one of these guns. So those are hella nice to have. And oh, another thing about Resonance is you get improved stability as the magazine gets lower. So really helpful. That's another reason why I don't go with these, because of that perk under pressure. Alright, and Royal Dispensation has the best jump accuracy in the entire game of any gun. I swear, dude, you can just, it shoots more accurate when you're in the air falling towards an enemy than if you're standing flat on the ground shooting a guy. And it doesn't make sense at all, but it really does. And it has high caliber rounds, which is really fucking useful when you need to stagger somebody when you're about to die and they instantly stop shooting you and you can get away or you can kill them, whatever you want to do. But these are hella. That's just why I always use high calibers, man, for the situation where, like, I just need to tell somebody shut the fuck up, quit shooting me. High caliber that ass, and they stop. This is the scope I go with. It's the most range scope, and it just helps in the jump accuracy for some reason. This scope is really, 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 really good. Alright, Martyr's Make, one of my top 5 favorite auto rifles. I definitely do ricochet rounds with this one. If you do it with the Accurize, it does a little more range, but the stability is so much more horrible. Like, you can tell that the stability is not there when you use these. So I'll go with the ricochet because it still does give it a range buff. And you got the bottom half. I've thought about remasterworking this to get 52 rounds out of it because I do have one on my Titan that has that, and I kind of like having the 52 rounds. It's not much of a difference, but it is at the same time because I get why they didn't make the bigger magazine when you masterwork for a bigger mag. I understand why they didn't make it have like 10 to 12 rounds because you kill so many dudes with those last 3 rounds that you don't even really pay attention to it until you do masterwork one with the last, like, 3 or 4 rounds. It gives you 2 or 3 rounds, whatever. Those rounds do pay off, so I might actually remasterwork this one eventually. The handling's already really good on it, so I might go ahead and just do that. But always use the bottom scope. This bottom scope is, you can snipe dudes with this auto rifle because of this scope. And if you use this scope, it does give it hell of handling, but you just can't hit further away targets. And this thing is just, it keeps the shots together a lot better, and just all around just a better scope to have on it. And Banan, this is probably the best energy scout in the game, only because of the explosive payload. Does hella more bonus damage and stuff, especially on shielded targets. I do steady rounds. I don't really need the fast reload when mag's empty because of the fitting aspect. I'd rather have the steady rounds and range with this kind of gun. Dude, I find myself hip firing and just charging at dudes while hip firing so much with this gun. A lot of people like this scope, but I like this one better. I think it gives it that little extra handling that it needs. That's a pretty huge drop off in handling for not a lot of range, so I do that. Anyways, on to the heavies. So I do 3 cluster bomb rockets. I do 2 Sins and an Osprey. So Sins of the Past, you probably already know all about this one. Cluster bombs, auto reload. I do the smart drift control more than anything. I just feel like it handles a lot better, and I can tell a difference between this one and this one. I like this one better. Hawthorne's, the Achilles shotgun is really good, but I'm still a Hawthorne fan. I choose it over the Achilles shotty all day. And with this gun, I do the assault mag. I don't really care about that little bit of reload it does, because with the fitting aspects, it reloads fast as shit anyways, so it's really no point. And then I go with, which you can see the difference. Midbore is kind of like a no-brainer. Full auto. Oh yeah. Main ingredient, one of the best fusion rifles in D2. I do the top scope. It seems like it locks on better. It's way easier to control. Enhanced battery. I'd rather have more bullets than that little pinch of damage that it does. It's not that much of a damage increase, and you'll get 5 shots. So I'd rather have more because that would equal more damage. And then on top of that, with Rampage, super sick all day. All right. Next gun, OWar. So in my opinion, I think this is the best linear fusion because of moving target. It lets you get the charge rate down and locks on a lot better when you're hitting moving targets. I think that's more valuable to have than any other last perk on any of the other linear fusions, which, like Dead Ender, it gives you Outlaw, where headshots increase reload speed. Fitting aspects do well enough. And I'd rather have something that helped the shooting on this kind of gun than give me something that's just like a fancy reload perk or whatever. I think being able to shoot better with the gun is way more important. Projection fuse, I'd rather have that for the more damage and the more range to lock on even better. And same here, corkscrew rifling, more range, more magnetism. Sins, you already know. I just recently got this, and this is a pretty good ass grenade launcher. It actually replaced the Terminator one that I had, the Truthteller. I'm actually using this one over the Truthteller now. Auto stow perk is nice target, and you can do these too, but I like to have the more blast radius with it. I think it's pretty nice. Alright, Timeline Vertex. This is the closest gun I can find at this in FR4, which is one of the Arms Day guns from D1. Snapshot sights, enhanced battery. You can go with that too, but like I said, I like the more damage and and it hits harder. So you got accelerated coils, but just, you don't need to drop that much damage on a fusion like this. You need the more rounds to get the more damage. Torch, same thing here. It's easier to aim it at further shots. That one gives it better handling, but This one just seems to work out a lot better. Darci, you already know. I got the catalyst for it. I just don't use snipers enough to finish the catalyst. I'm only at 25%. We'll probably never finish it, to be honest. I don't snipe that much, and this gun handles so good anyways, so it's really no point. Tractor Cannon, if you need a booper for escalation protocol, it comes in handy. I hardly ever use it unless I'm doing escalation and nobody has a boop. Even if nobody else has a boop, I usually am not the booper anyways, because I kill a lot of shit and I'm more needed in that aspect versus being a booper. And then Vertex Osprey, I'm going to say this is probably the best rocket in the game, probably tied with Sins, but this reload speed and the velocity and everything along with it just makes it freaking beast. And it has quick launch, which means you pull that bitch out, it fires right away with no hesitation, so that's what I'm rocking with that. They may not be your best go-tos or whatever, but you know, that's just how I play, and I like to get a ton of kills, and I like to non-stop move, so I like to fly around, I like to shoot in the air, I like to just move as quick as I can, and I need weapons that can accommodate my playstyle of just moving around fast as shit and trying to down enemies as fast as I can so I can complete events as fast as I can, and these are the guns that I can rely on to get the job done. There are other weapons that I would recommend too, like Sunshot and things like that. Sunshot just doesn't make the cut because I hate reloading it. It only has 8 shots. It reloads fast as fuck, man, don't get me wrong, but I just get tired of always reloading that gun. It's just always reloading. I just don't really care to keep doing that all the time. It is a fun weapon to use. It's on my my hunter, because I'm a hunter. I feel like that and Better Devils are like a tank setup. If you ever use Better Devils and Sunshot, it's a pretty beast setup. And there's other guns that I can't even think of right now that are great that just didn't make the cut, but they didn't make the cut for, you know, a few reasons, and a lot of it has to do with either the reload sucks on them or they're just not as accurate in the air and fast as these guns are, and is useful in my opinion. But anyways, dudes, hope that helps you out some when you're, you know, looking at weapons and don't know what to keep or whatever. You know, every player is different. Everybody has their own level of playability. You know, one person might not like these guns because they're just not that kind of fighter. I used to hate submachine guns because I just never really wanted to give them a try. I thought they were just kind of bullshit, and then I actually started playing with them a lot more and got really good at using them to where now they're one of my favorite things to use in the entire game. I rock those things out everywhere. Even in raids, I'll rock the Conqueror and stuff like that. Even in Nightfalls, I'll rock the Conqueror. In Royal Dispensation, it's like, you know, when you know how to use them, they're beasts. But if you never use them, you never know. And if you don't, you know, try things out and get better with them, then, you know, it's another reason you'll never know. But that's just what I think. This is probably the only one of the very few opinionated videos I'll be making, because there's no, you know, proven fact that something's better than something on this, you know. I mean, there is in some cases and stuff if you're like comparing Sins and Osprey and Curtain Call and things like that I've made in the past, but it's all, you know, it's all opinionated. People like things like, I'll never be a sidearm user. I just don't think you can do shit with sidearms. You got to be able, you know, like 3 feet in front of them just to do any kind of real damage, and they're not really fast killers in my opinion for how they shoot and things like that. But I don't know, man. Y'all take it easy. Hopefully that helps some of you out. And if you need anything, man, I'm on PS4. You can add me. Hit that subscribe button if you want weekly tip videos that I'll be doing. And I'll catch y'all in space.